I just remember him and Austin, my stepson, when they braided their hair and they were doing, what was that group that they had like the baggy pants?
Oh, crisscross.
Crisscross, and they would
Yeah.
dance like that.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and
Yeah.
just the talent and how they were just so agile. They could do it. Just
They're funny.
you know, yeah. And he was beautiful, beautiful child.
Yeah,
you know.
he was.
I think on here, like, I always thought this was kind of cool that it just said like different ways to deal with it. One of them is like describe your loved one in 10 words. Do you think something like that
Oh,
helps?
my God. Well, funny. He had the best Jim Carrey impressions as a little boy. And when I would ask him to do it in front of people, he'd start going, "Mom."
Yeah.
Like I was his
You're like, roll tape,
puppeteer.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
He's like, "I'm sick of doing it." It was cute at first, but he got sick of it. So funny, beautiful heart, silly, just like me. We both had a great sense of humor. Kennedy got that too.
Absolutely.
Elliot's funny. She's just a little more dry.
She's dry. Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Kind. Probably too kind sometimes.
I would think that he did not have a mean bone in his body. He did not have meanness
No.
in him. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
not even a little bit. Like, he just was,
No,
you know.
he really didn't. One funny memory is he, when he was in 5th grade, he won the 5th grade spelling bee against his best buddy at the time.
Oh, wow.
And
That's pretty cool.
Chase went to San Jac, and the best buddy went to Harvard.
There's that. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I
That's
still keep
funny,
somewhat keep in touch with him. He's a good guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah.
Wow.
But he's got a couple of friends that still keep in contact with me, which makes me feel really good. One of them's a lot more in contact. But he did have some good friends. He went to Greece for his high school graduation for 3 weeks. I'm like, what a blessing! I didn't get to do that. I think
You
I
got to go to New York. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he went all over the world with my in-laws.
That's amazing. He did?
Not all over the world, all over the country. I mean, like he went to Washington, California, Florida, New York. They took him everywhere.
He was fun.
He was their
Yeah.
traveling buddy, for a long
Yeah.
time.
Very cool.
Yeah. So they were very blessed. I'm very grateful that my in-laws were such traveling
Right.
people, because they really embraced that, and they've encouraged us. They're like, do it while you're young, because
Yeah, that hip's going to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
something. But great blessing. Great blessing.
Okay, so here's a question. I think this is kind of cool. It just said, what songs make you think of the person you miss? Is there a song that
Oh,
comes
Yellow. Coldplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. That one by U2. Sheryl Crow has a song. Right now my mind is blank.
I can't even think of that right now.
Gosh, Lee, man. I can't think of it.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about, but it's
Home.
like, yeah.
Which
yeah.
by Michael Bublé. Those were just songs that made me think of
Michael
like
Bublé.
just him,
Yeah, absolutely.
But he had he had great taste in music and very eclectic. He loved Frank Sinatra.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
He and his
yeah.
friend actually not argued. Some girl that both of them had their eye on.
They were going to karaoke her or something.
Yeah, she challenged them, and whoever sang it best got her. Well, Chase won. He sang, I think, "Fly Me to the Moon."
Oh, wow.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
and I think
Yeah.
this is Harry.
Yeah.
Which I'm still very close to, but I think it even I think they didn't talk for a little bit, which I think is hysterical.
Yeah, that's hard hit, right?
And they're both
Yeah.
very handsome, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just a look. It was a American Idol contest, apparently.
Okay, so here is, what's the one thing that you want to remember?
About him?
And I guess maybe like all of it too, because I'd like to in a second go back to, I want to talk about your dad in a second.
Yeah.
There's so much. It's hard to
Yeah,
think, right?
I couldn't
Yeah.
pinpoint one thing. I just want to remember.
Right.
Because I've said this to a couple of people, sometimes that 17 years, it feels like maybe he wasn't really real. Like you start,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like a fantasy. Like, was he really my son?
he really here?
Was he here? Because it's just, your memory fades as you get older. I'm 59 this year. No, I'm going to be 60 this year. I'm 59 now.
Are you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're older than me by 1 year. 1 year.
Really? She had to bring that
I
up?
know. Just 1 year.
It's really not even 1 year. It's like 6 months. My
I'm
birthday's in
counting it as
October.
one
No,
whole year.
you and Terry Lynn do that. No.
I know.
No. Okay. So what was the thing?
Well, I was going to say, like, you were young, you're 9. Your dad dies.
Yeah.
And y'all get the phone. And I just, being such a young child, and you said that, like, everybody's grieving around you, but what are the things that you remember about your dad? Because that's been
He was
forever.
a wonderful person. And especially to me and my sisters. And, maybe it's the era.
Uh-huh.
He would have been, on February 15th, he would have been 90 years old.
Wow.
He died on February 9th. Chase was born 11 years later on his death date. And then Kennedy is February 14th, and my dad's birthday was February 15th. So and Kennedy, the funny thing, is built just like a Seaburger.
Yeah.
And Chase just had this personality. Like, my dad was really funny, good Christian man, but he was funny. He had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's where I get it.
That's where you get it from. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. I mean, my mom can be funny, but she's not ha 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 like me.
Right,
I'm
right.
I'm a goofball.
Yeah.
But yeah. My dad was good. He was would do anything for anybody. I remember he was an electrician by trade, and he would offer to help somebody with something with their electricity, and they'd offer to make us dinner. I remember sitting around a table with all these people, like, I don't know who they are, but they sure cooked good.
That's amazing. Yeah, a little barter system going on there.
Yeah. That's all he would say. He goes, "Oh, just make me a little dinner or something like." I don't know. I mean, it was a one-time thing.
He
but
sounds amazing.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was a really good person, and nobody in his family lived to be 40.
Now, why is that?
Men. His
All
sister.
heart?
No. His sister lived to be. I'm gonna lie. She was older.
Okay.
Like much older. He had a brother that died of an aneurysm. He had a brother that died of cancer. One drowned, and my dad had a heart attack.
Dang.
But none of them hit 40. So when my brothers hit 40, the ones that were
They're
here,
like,
they're like, yeah, like, oh, thank God. Because Chris, he died at 17.
Now, how did Chris die?
A car accident.
Okay.
Yeah. So, he was a lot like Chase, dark complected. There's some resemblances there. And I remember as Chase, as a little boy, said, I sure miss my Uncle Chris. And I'm like, you never met him. He was gone before. And that always kind of
that's a little
gave me the
spooky,
EBGBs a
right?
little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So, your mom going through what she's gone through, how did she navigate through all that? Because she seems, to go through the loss that,
She's
that's
the
kinda
Arnold
hit.
Schwarzenegger of mothers.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did it. I don't know how. She's been through a lot. I don't know.
I'm just amazed by her.
And it's hard for me to even bring stuff like, even talking about any of this with her.
Right.
Because it hurts.
Absolutely.
And it just immediately wants me to start crying. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't I've teared up a little bit now, but I'm really kind of shocked how well I'm doing. Just talking about me.
Absolutely.
It's very hard, number one, to talk about yourself.
Right.
Especially in this context. But well,
did your mom give you any advice or
she she was struggling so bad. Like when Chase? No, and I didn't ask for it.
Right.
Because
it was almost like it was a reminder.
Well, and
or
she was going through it again.
Yes.
And sadly, I even told my sisters, I'm like, y'all are going to have to take care of mom. I got to take care of myself. I'm like struggling really bad.
Right.
And I just need to know that she's okay. But I can't do it.
Right. Right.
So, and I think that's,
I think
that's
so-
understandable.
And I think it's great. You made sure that somebody was.
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
I said that from the get-go. I was like, please.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very smart.
not struggle, handle her so that I can deal with me. Because I was still trying to run a household and be a wife and mom.
Oh,
and I'm,
yeah. And the world doesn't stop. That's
no,
the
it doesn't
weirdest
stop.
thing.
It's so weird.
I think that's just the
But-
craziest thing because it does when you're going through it. You feel like, how is everybody else moving
Yeah.
on? You know,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable.
Yep.
Okay, so I like that you did navigate through it, and even though you said like you're continuing to do it now, but is there?
life.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, life goes on. No matter how you're feeling, and I'm not making little of this at all.
right.
But it's almost like the world keeps running. You're stuck in this one place, of trying to swim. I used to tell myself, just keep swimming, just
And
keep
is
swimming.
it like I feel like you just don't want to? It kind of reminds me of like how everybody like once COVID happened and everybody was like stuck at home. It was almost like when they were like, okay, you can come out now. So many people, even now, like we were talking about it earlier, a lot of people were like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to stay here.
I
know?
definitely go to bed early. It changed me.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
some friends that didn't, and they're like, "What's wrong with you? You didn't used to be like that." I'm like, "Girl, I don't know."
I learned a new way of living. I can be comfortable at home.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
guess what? I think sleep's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially because I went through a lot of years of insomnia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, was that because of Chase or is that before?
I mean,
after?
a little bit of both, but I think at night when it was time to go to bed, I was afraid I would lay there just awake, and I did do it
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
And I did for maybe a year take a sleep aid, and then I was like, this can't be good for me, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And I don't think I took it every night, but I did take it because I was so afraid of not being able to sleep. And I did take an antidepressant.
And those are helpful, though.
It was
aren't they?
helpful. And, there was times where I thought, I'm fine, and I'd get off of it, and I was like, I was not fine.
Right.
So I got back on it.
And did you have to try like several, or was there just like one? That
I think I
nailed
did
it?
2.
Right. But
You know,
the second one worked better.
I'm not recommending it.
Right.
I'm just saying it worked for me.
And it's okay though.
And
If
it's
you need
okay
it,
if you
it's
need
okay.
it. And I really,
Yeah.
I'm not a big advocate of pill taking, but
Right.
at the time, I was losing my freaking mind. So
Right.
I needed something so that I could be normal for the people that
To function.
that were here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that needed me.
And there's no shame in that, I don't think at all. It's
I'm
the
not
same thing-
ashamed.
Right. There's no shame in that, or going to counseling, talking to people,
Nope.
journaling. I mean, all the anything that can help. As long as it's not detrimental. You
Yeah.
don't want to drink away your grief
No.
or,
No.
like you
No.
said.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. And too, there were at times if I did drink, it made it worse.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people say that.
Right.
They're like, it just made me sadder.
Right.
I mean, I'm
I agree
saying
with
if you
that,
just drank
yeah.
a little bit, but if you had a little, just get over a little bit too
Yeah,
much.
it's almost
I would
like
cry.
it's like
it's
it's,
like nobody
it's
wants to
after
listen
3
to that.
glasses of wine, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Even a sad song or
Just stop.
something.
Oh
yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So many weird things would trigger me.
Right.
One day a friend sent me a card, and on the radio was this really pretty song, and I'm reading the card, and I'm just like sobbing in the car. And then I send the friend a text and say, "Thank you so much, or you made me cry." Like, well, that's not what I meant. I just
Right.
wanted
And then that
you
made
didn't
you
know
cry
how much I
harder.
love you, and I'm like, But it was very thoughtful because people did.
Reach out.
Reach out and continue to let me know. Still to this day,
Awesome. Yeah.
one friend went to Spain and lit a candle in Chase's honor. Made me feel awesome,
Yeah.
and then sends me a picture of her doing it. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet,
Yeah.
because that means that
Very touching.
my friends are still thinking about me.
Right. And he's not forgotten either. I think that's,
Right. And
you
that,
know,
even more importantly, because I
Yeah.
think that's another mom's, one of their biggest fears is that their kid's just going to be forgotten about.
become invisible. Or
Yeah.
Like, they,
Like,
you
no,
said,
they're
like it never happened.
they're important.
Yeah.
They're a part of our life. And,
Do you do when people ask you how many children you have? Do you say 3?
I still say 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that. From
Yeah,
people.
because
You don't want them to be forgotten.
I don't
Right.
want them to be forgotten. And also, if there was any inkling that they're listening to me talk, and I
Right.
said 2 kids, if it were me, I'd be like,
Then you
well,
would have
that's
some,
not very
some
nice.
paintings falling off the wall.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. No, I always say 3.
Yeah.
Now, if I just don't want to get into it,
Right.
Uh,
You get to pick and choose.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
or I avoid it. But
Right.
that's the part. I'm pretty open. I'm an
Yeah.
open book. I'm not telling you the story to make you feel sorry for me. I'm not like that at all.
Right.
I'm just telling. That's my life. He was
Right.
part of me.
It happened.
It happened.
Definitely.
And, it's just weird when you've given birth to somebody, you're like, no, they are part of you. Like your arm or
Forever.
your leg or your.
Did you read that article? They were saying something like when you give birth to your children, like the DNA or something, the mitochondrial something it is in your children, like something from us, not just our DNA, but something else. And I always wondered that, like with moms, like you know how like you kind of like know where they are in your brain, or and
Yeah.
so I think like you even saying like that he's somewhere,
Yeah.
like you feel that, and so
Well, like,
I
here's an
love-
example. Like, some people, and I did at first, but they feel it's so important to go to the cemetery. I don't feel like he's there.
Right.
I feel like he's in my heart. At the beginning, I did. But now, I feel like he's always with me.
right,
Maybe not physically, but he's in my heart. Mm-hmm. That is just a resting place for his
till we meet again.
capsule.
Right. Yeah.
What are they call it?
Soul, I guess.
Soul? No, his soul's with me, is what I'm.
Yeah, I don't. But I know what you're saying. Like they're just. But I think people when they come in to your heart, like, and your heart's big enough to love a lot of people, but someone that's been in there and you've loved him, that doesn't just see ya.
No, it does not go away.
Yeah. So,
I could see if like you divorced somebody and you were still in love with them, you might linger or
Right.
whatever. I'm glad that never happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just it's a lingering love. Grief is love with no place to go. That's exactly what grief is.
God,
Yeah. There's so many good sayings
That's a good
that
one.
like will punch you in the gut.
grief is love with no place to go.
Grief is love with no place to go because you can't give it anymore to them. It's just in you. I could tell him I love him, but I ain't gonna hear back.
I always think it's so weird. Like with my mom when she passed away, she's frozen in time. She'll
Mm-hmm.
never get any older. She always looks the same. She,
Chase
and-
will be forever 21.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's interesting. I know some people that, and you can, you're mad at the person for dying, or you're mad because you had a conversation or whatever. But I always feel kind of sorry and defensive for the people that have passed, because it's like they're frozen in that time and you don't know what they would have said afterwards or how they would have,
You know what my other
fixed
thing
it.
about that is? I feel like you should never speak ill of the dead, no matter what.
Right.
They are not here to defend themselves,
Agreed.
and
But
I
sometimes
don't
it
do
does.
it.
When you are grieving, like when my mom died, I was so mad at her all the time. Just
No,
for
I know, but I'm
grieving,
just talking
you
about
know.
like
Yeah.
talking really ill. Of them,
yeah.
being like, well,
Disrespectful.
they did that when they were alive. It's like, I'm not going to bring up any conversations because I don't want to ever hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
But I've heard people say that. I'm like, don't you think they would have changed?
Exactly.
They would have grown, or that
'Cause
maybe they were
everybody's-
just a teenage shit.
And we're also
We're all
multi-layered,
shits when we're
right?
teenagers.
And I always feel like we're all like a bunch of different things.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I think as we age, we grow and we learn, oh, I'll do better.
Right.
Or I can improve on
Absolutely.
this, or I'll improve on that. It's always second chances, and
Right.
stuff like that. Just do better.
And giving people grace.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is you hear that saying, you never know what someone's going through. Try to always be kind. It's so true.
Absolutely.
There's been so many times, I can't even tell you. I've never been like rude to the person, but I've experienced thoughts when something wasn't going. I'll just give you an example. I was in Walmart one time,
Uh-oh.
and it was a Saturday morning.
Everything happens in Walmart.
I know.
Everything. Okay.
Even outfits.
Yeah.
But there was 2 women, and there was like maybe 5 kids with one of those big buggies, and 2 or 3 of the kids were just screaming their head off, and I'm like, all I can think is like, get me out of here. And I love kids, you know that.
But somebody's missing nap time.
But I was like, holy moly. You know, I went to the checkout and I'm starting to check out and I look up and guess who's right behind me? Those people. Well, one of the mothers and a child or two walk away and the sister, well, I found out it was true. She goes, that's my sister. And she's going through a very abusive breakup and the kids are just out of sorts. And I'm so sorry they're screaming. And because I didn't say anything, but you know, maybe she
But
felt.
you're like, are you a mind reader? Did you know what I was thinking?
Well, I felt this big.
Yes.
So I was standing there checking out, and I'm feeling like I'm a horrible person for having these thoughts. These people are going through this bad experience, and when I'm checking out, I get like some extra money. I hand it. I go, why don't you take the kids to eat? She's like, oh my God, thank you
That
so
is
much. I go, well, I just
amazing.
hope you know your sister
Yeah.
gets what she needs and is in
Right.
a safe space. And then I walked
So
out going,
sweet.
I am such a jerk. I just felt like the
But
biggest
I
jerk.
think you just did, but you did.
Well, I was a
yes.
jerk for my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody's going on, you know, something's
Yeah.
always going on.
I always tell my husband that because sometimes if somebody's driving too fast which is ironic for him, but anyway, somebody's not driving well or they seem like they're in a hurry, and I'm like, but haven't you ever been in a hurry? Or maybe they need to go to the restroom. Have you ever thought about that?
Or the ER.
Right. I'm like, or maybe they're late to deposit a check. I'm
Their
like,
wedding.
I'm like, let's just slow down. I mean,
Yeah.
like, who cares? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So I do think.
I just
that,
don't
yeah.
like it when they zoom past me so fast that it startles me.
Yeah,
That's when
yeah.
I get like, ah. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with sometimes, with our husbands, I never like, are we driving fast today? Are they driving slow today? What's
Yeah.
the whole thing. But, yeah.
But yeah. So back to our subject.
I'm glad you're doing this, though. And I know Chase would like it, for sure.
I hope so. I just, you know, I joke about, oh, helping people is my superpower. I really do, and I like it.
Right.
You know,
Feels good.
maybe I should have tried counseling or something, but I think I'm too honest. I don't know. I just kind of tell it like it is. But I think the people that you're going to hear on this podcast that have experienced some of the things that I have,
Right.
they're all different stories, but impactful. Especially like the next one is going to be my friend Marie Sharp.
Absolutely.
That
yeah.
girl has a story, and she is the brightest light.
She really is.
Her faith is
I've only
so
met her
strong.
a few times, but I've heard such.
She's beautiful
wonderful
inside
things
now,
about
and
her.
I'm so happy that she's doing this because people need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, it's not a uplifting story, but it's an important story for people to hear, and how she's come out on a brighter side.
Right.
You're still going through it no matter what.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
But she's
But I think
amazing.
It's so good just to hear your story. We'll hear Marie's story, and I
Yeah.
think that, and on and on and on, because it's
Yeah.
just see that other people have gone through this. It has happened. It will happen.
Yeah.
And how to navigate through it, and know it's okay too if you're not navigating through it.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing.
I mean, the thing is there's no rules.
right.
There's no book that says, okay, by month 4, you should be over it. No, that's not the
Right.
case. I see people that do a lot better than I did, and I was envious.
Right.
Honestly, I was like, why couldn't I be like that? You know.
Right.
But I just wasn't. I wasn't capable. I
Right.
don't know. I don't
But
know how
I
to
think
explain
too,
it.
sometimes I've seen somebody who maybe handles it better, however they do it or whatever it's called. Maybe that was what God sent to you so that you could see what
Yeah,
somebody, how
an
somebody
example
was
of
doing.
what. Yeah, like
And
she's
then
doing way better than me, or
right.
whatever.
And maybe this will be an example for someone who's going through it.
Yeah.
But I think it is okay to
And
not be okay
everybody does it
sometimes.
different.
Yeah.
I felt like you need to go through the stages of, there's 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
I felt like for me, I kind of went through them all, where I've had other people say, yeah, no, I didn't do any of that, or, you know, whatever
Wow,
their experience.
yeah.
And I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. I mean, I'm no.
But do you think sometimes when they say, no, I didn't go through that, I wonder sometimes if words are just kind of flying out of their mouth, but they're
Who
not
knows?
really.
You don't know.
You
don't
know, yeah.
And I'm just there, you know, I'm a listening board. I'm not a
Right.
judger. You know,
Right.
I don't need to be judging anybody on how to do any of this. But
Anything that can help
Just
someone, that's
that-
amazing.
I do, you know, I honestly didn't know if my life would ever be like really happy again. And it is. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
hopeful. And I've got so much to look forward to. You know, my son's married now, and, you know, hopefully in the future I'll have a grandbaby or two. And my daughter's working, and, you know, she's a nurse. I'm so proud of her. You know, that's not an easy task, and she's in the pediatric ICU. I'm like, I mean, working with kids, I mean, I love
Yeah.
kids. But I'm just proud of them, and I, you know, life's good. You know, yes, we all miss Chase, but
Right.
I think he would be proud of all of the way we've handled and tried to move forward with life, and with a positive attitude and joy and celebrate. We probably over celebrate, honestly.
Right.
You know, like when Kennedy got married, I wanted to make sure it was just, you know, whatever. What do you need? What do you need? Without
Right.
being, you know, crazy expensive.
Right.
But I just wanted to help and make sure that day was memorable.
Right.
And in honor of Chase,
Well, you
I had
knocked it
to
out
do
of the
that.
park. That was
I had to do
amazing.
that for
Yeah.
him. You know, I was like,
Right.
you know, I would have done it for Chase. You know,
Right.
and the same thing with Bianca. When we buy Christmas gifts, we still do it, you know, evenly with the three, because I'm like, I would have done it for Chase anyway, so I'm going to make sure Bianca
Right.
gets gifted.
Yeah.
I'm a generous person when it comes to that.
Definitely.
I can't take the money with me.
Well, you're generous and you're thoughtful as well.
Yeah, but I can't take it with me.
Right. No.
I can't bury it in a box with me.
No.
So why wouldn't I share it with my kids?
Right.
You know,
And it feels good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love, and I think she loves it. You know,
Yeah. Heck yeah. She like hit the jackpot with the family. Yeah.
we love her. So we got very, very lucky.
So what's the takeaway, you think? Like, since this is kind of like the beginning, what do you think?
I don't know. I guess as we go on, I don't know that we will. My dog's barking.
My dogs are barking.
No, my dog is barking.
I'm just kidding.
I think, you know, my goal is to help people.
Right.
And I think when you hear these people's story, everybody's story is different.
Right.
None of them are the same. You know, good or bad, they're all different.
Right.
And everybody's experience is different. And I want people to hear the people's experience and how they navigate, how they, you know, found joy again.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that maybe it's been a little bit more recent
Right.
will probably be a little bit tougher.
Right.
But I still think there's stories that need to be told. If the mom or family member is willing to
Share.
bring their story to us, then I'm willing, you know, I want them to be here. I've just treaded lightly with people.
Right.
I've you know, have several offers to do this.
Right.
And some are very excited, some of them are nervous, and one of them's like, yeah, I think it's time. We're at an anniversary, and I would like to talk now. They had been offered a previous podcast, and they're like, yeah, I'm not
Too
ready.
soon,
Too soon.
yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah.
So that's what I think, you know, it's not a fun subject to talk about, but I promise that we will bring some humor to it, and because, you know, God, it's heavy.
Yeah, it is.
It's super heavy.
But we all are going to experience it in some
Yeah.
capacity.
What is
so-
that saying? You're guaranteed death and taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. Unfortunately, like with me, everybody was young,
Right.
which, you know, seems unfair, but it's life, and it's like, you know, I think it's in a way, it's like God telling you, you still have to keep moving.
Absolutely.
You got to keep moving. Just keep swimming,
Keep
you
swimming.
know. So,
Keep chasing butterflies.
yep,
right?
yep, that's right. Well, I think we're good for today.
I think we did well.
Yeah.
It's our first try. I think we're kind of proud of it. I mean, here we go.
I know. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, until the next time.
Until the next time.